It's raining again, but no rainouts on Up North at 4. We got a great show for you today. Bill Vankos from the Rhinelander Historical Society will join us to talk about the once famous Rhinelander Refrigerator Company. We'll get to that in a bit, but first, here's your top 4 at 4. Rhinelander's Food Pantry is hosting another food giveaway tomorrow. It is expected to start at 8:30. The pantry is asking folks to stay in your vehicles and wear a mask because they'll be coming up to your windows to ask how many boxes you'll take. Please have room in your vehicle's trunk or back seat for boxes, and the boxes, by the way, are free. Walleye populations are going down in northern Wisconsin. The DNR are focusing on 4 area lakes to try to reverse that trend. They are Catherine and Clear Lakes in Oneida County and Laura and Anvil Lakes in Vilas County. Those 4 lakes were chosen because they all had a strong, naturally recurring walleye population until very, very recently. The DNR will host a public meeting in the future to discuss the rehabilitation plan. That'll be over Zoom. You can learn more on the DNR's website. The House of Representatives passed the American Rescue Plan today. So what does this mean for you? Let's start with the checks. Those making $80,000 or less will receive up to a $1,400 check. And for couples, that threshold is double, so $160,000 to receive up to $2,800 checks. And if you have dependents, you could get up to $1,400 more for each dependent. And those direct deposits could come as soon as this weekend. And also, parents will receive up to $3,600 in 12 monthly payments per child. Wisconsin's Joint Committee on Finance announced they will hold a public hearing in the Hodag Dome. It's one of 3 public hearings across the state during the month of April. All 16 members of the Joint Finance Committee will be in attendance, including State Senator Mary Felskowski from nearby Irma. It will be from 10 to 5 on Wednesday, April 21st. No registration is required. Chief Meteorologist Jeff Weller joins us right after our fancy new graphic. Jeff, it was raining today.
Hey, Dan. Yeah, happy Wednesday. The advection fog is all over today. It forms when we have warmer air over a cold surface, and it's all over right now. Also, rain showers. Now, the heaviest rain has pushed north of the area now. However, there's lots of drizzle and mist in here, and there still could be a couple of thunder showers out there this afternoon. The severe weather should stay across far western Wisconsin, but still, a rumble of thunder cannot be ruled out between now and, say, midnight. Likely, though, non-severe, with some small hail possible later on tonight. This thing is all wound up, as you can see, but again, we're in that drizzly kind of dry slot area right now. It's going to work through tonight, though, but it has lots of energy, thus wind energy as well. This is a wind advisory through tomorrow morning for wind gusts near 40 miles per hour as the thing kind of pushes through tonight. And by the way, the snow is so close that's a winter weather advisory for Iron Ashland counties. They are getting snow. Our forecast, though, for tonight, though, is cloudy skies, lots of wind, lots of rain, and some fog out there as well, with low temperatures down near 32. Your full forecast at 5 o'clock.
Lac Vie Désert Health Center in Watersmeet has the COVID-19 vaccine available on March 11th between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. for adults 18 and older. First come, first serve.
There are never enough hours in the day. I'm always making trade-offs, sacrifices. But I'll keep going. Even when it feels like there's no way I can do it all, I won't give up. I'm doing this for me and for them. We're doing this together. North Central Technical College's virtual college, flexible learning, because our time is precious.
My name's Arthur, Merrill, Wisconsin. In August of 2019, I started getting numbness in my feet. By July of 2020, my feet were so numb, I lost a sense of balance. I thought I was walking on stilts. I seen this ad for spinal aid. I took 20 treatments from them, and by then my feet were 90% better and no longer felt as walking on stilts.
Are you experiencing weakness, numbness, and or pain in your feet or hands? These sensations might even be affecting other areas of your body along with your balance. You might have already been diagnosed with peripheral neuropathy and are taking drugs such as Lyrica, gabapentin, or Cymbalta that never seems to help. Neuropathy pain ultimately diminishes your quality of life. Call Spinal Aid of Wausau today to see if our treatment methods are right for you. Call 715-203-1508 to schedule your neuropathy severity consultation or visit us at spinalaid.com.
Here we go, Jeff. It's time for Wednesday. We have two strange photos today. We're going to start with this first one. A truck was pulled over in north central Wisconsin this week. Do you notice anything wrong with this truck, Jeff?
It's missing a door?
It's missing well, the door, I believe, is open. Look at the car seat right there. Look at the driver's seat.
Okay. It looks like different color?
Jeff, this is a seat that is reserved for being on the sidelines for soccer games. It's not quite up to code in terms of safety. There was no seat belt.
Oh, it's like a lawn chair.
It's a lawn chair, exactly. So people at home, don't do that. We have a second photo
It's like a redneck version of a car seat, right?
I would say so. All
right, cool.
I think that's the joke there. And then, Jeff, you sent me this picture. This was an optical illusion off the English
Isn't this so cool? It happens
coast.
when cold air sits on top of warm air on sunny days over water, right? So the light is then bended or refracted. So it looks like that ship is like floating, right? But it's not. So it's an optical illusion.
Well, thank you for your knowledge, Jeff. We got to go to Bill Vankos and his knowledge. He spoke for a little bit longer than I was hoping today, but still great content, and he will be back right after the break.
When you're the victim of an accident, it can feel like the weight of the entire world is on your shoulders. Why not let us take that crippling burden off your back? Habish, and Rotier. We fight for what's right.
Find your style with Patriot Lighting. Save today with 11% off and choose from our huge selection of ceiling fans. Our ceiling fans add elegance to any room and reduce energy costs all year round. We carry a great selection of styles and finishes, so you're sure to find the look that's right for you. Save with 11% off all Patriot Lighting ceiling fans. View all of our lighting options right now on Menards.com.
Save big money at Menards.
You popped the question, now come in and pop a balloon to receive unbeatable prices and up to a 40% additional savings on your wedding bands during the Wickersham Wedding Band Blitz, March 11th through the 13th. The area's largest selection of wedding bands, all at incredible savings for 3 days only, March 11th through the 13th. One lucky couple from each of Wickersham's 3 locations will even win a $500 Delta gift card. Wickersham Jewelry. If you can dream it, we can make it.
So much time at home. I need new furniture.
Dylan, it's Slumberland's Build Your Room sale. Look what you can get for just $20, $30, or $40 a month. How about a dining room for just $20 a month?
I'm more of a pizza in front of the TV kind of guy. Recliners. I've always wanted a couple of those.
How about 2 of these for just $30 a month when you spend $1,800 and pay no interest for 5 years?
Well, hello, Slumberland.
Lac Vie Desert Health Center in Watersmeet has the COVID-19 vaccine available on March 11th between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. for adults 18 and older. First come, first serve.
Welcome back to Up North at 4. I am joined by Bill Vankos from the Rhinelander Historical Society. Bill, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Let's talk about the Rhinelander Refrigeration Company. I'll let you take it away.
All right. Okay, before we do that, I just want to kind of set the area again, if you will. We talked about how the Brown brothers came up here, dammed the river, backed up the Boom Lake, did the plat for the original city, laid out the area to the north of the city for the sawmills, and there were up to 8 of them at one time in that area. So the north of the plat of Rhinelander was designated for the sawmills. Maybe because there wasn't enough space, maybe because of fire concerns, I'm not sure. other businesses looked to other areas. For instance, the paper mill built on the west side of the river. So the river between the platted Rhinelander, village of Rhinelander and on the west side of the river is where the paper mill is. To the south, I don't think they knew the term back then, but we would probably call it more of an industrial park now. There were at least 4 or 5 businesses that built to the south of Rhinelander. One of them was the Wisconsin Veneer Company, as later called Atlas Plywood. That's for local residents, like where the post office and Triggs is now. And they made plywood out of mostly aspen or popple wood. Then if we go to the south side, we have the Wabash Screen Door Company, which was located on Kemp Street, where later Daniels Manufacturing was, and now the paper mill has a coder in that building. If we turned on Bruner, we would have the Rhinelander Refrigerator Company, and they were utilizing mostly oak and ash. So we all knew that everybody knew there was other species of wood around here, but initially everybody went for that white pine because that was good construction lumber, and that was the main goal at that time, was to create lumber to build homes and businesses. So now they're looking at other wood that's around here. The popple for the plywood. The paper mill used primarily spruce and hickory, or spruce and hemlock when they started. So now we go to the Rhinelander Refrigerator Company that used mostly oak and ash. And then next to them was the Rhinelander Boat Company that used mostly cedar with white oak for the trim around it. And then if you turn the corner on Bruner and go on Ocala, you would have had where the Rhinelander Brewing Company was. Didn't use wood necessarily, but that was kind of that industrial corridor, if you will, that was on the south side. So again, they're trying to utilize, many of them, the wood and the materials that are available around here. So the Rhinelander Refrigerator Company was a very interesting and for a time very successful company. It's on its location, there was a called Kirk's Box Factory where they made wooden boxes, but that went out of business in 1897. So some of the buildings were there, sat empty for a couple of years, and then a group of Rhinelander investors decided that they were going to go into business in those buildings. So initially in 1900, it was called Rhinelander Manufacturing Company, and the intent was to build furniture. And one of the things that they built along with the furniture were these refrigerators, or we would call them more ice boxes, or younger people would call them coolers, if you will. A box unit that when you close it up, it would keep the cold in and it would keep the warm out. They soon realized that was a real growing market. So in 1902, they reorganized and called themselves the Rhinelander Refrigerator Company, gave up on the furniture end of it, went right to the refrigerators. So again, they were using mostly oak and ash. It was a metal lined box. It had 1.5 inches of cork that was insulation in the box unit, and away they went. In order to have this ice box work, you have to have ice. So the ice was cut off of Boom Lake. In Boom Lake, the word is Wisconsin River is one of the hardest working rivers in the country, and Boom Lake was probably one of the hardest working lakes because that's where they floated all of the logs to the different sawmills. The Brown brothers, when they came, created the Pelican Boom Company, and they were taking the logs that came down the river and sorting them and delivering them to the different mills. In the winter, when it was froze over, then people would go out there and cut big blocks of ice out of that lake, and they would bring it into town, and they would store it in the ice house. And the ice house in Rhinelander was located right behind where the fire department is now. And they would pack that ice with sawdust. Sawdust is a very good insulator. If they could figure out how to make it fire retardant, it could have had a good usage. But for packing ice, it was very, very good. So they would pack that ice, and it would last until the next winter when they would go out and cut more ice. So then they would deliver it to the businesses and to all of the homes. And the story goes that the man that delivered the ice had a horse and a wagon, and he would go around to the different houses delivering ice, probably on a weekly circuit. And it was stated that the horse was so well trained that it would advance to the next house and stop. So the man could spend all his time with his tongs on the back, grabbing the ice and delivering it to the houses. And it goes on to say that in the summer, especially when it was real hot, if he saw some children around and they were well behaved, he might chip off a little piece of ice and give it to them as a treat. And it'd be like us getting a popsicle or something like that on a hot summer's day. So you can pretty much bet that when the Iceman was coming through the neighborhood, the kids were on their best behavior.
Bon voyage, March 2020, hello 2021, and the coolest promotion we've ever offered. You deserve a vacation, when you're ready, of course, and Tundraland wants to help pay for it. Get a new bath or deck from Tundraland, and we'll give you a vacation voucher for 2. Travel when you want, and it's good for 2 years. Use it for a cruise, a vacation condo, or a resort stay. We have a very limited amount, so call 1-800-TUNDRALAND and reserve your spot today.
I wanted my hepatitis C gone.
I put off treating mine.
Epclusa treats all main types of chronic hep C. Whatever your type, Epclusa could be your kind of cure.
I just found out about mine.
I knew for years. Epclusa has a 98% overall cure rate.
I had no symptoms of hepatitis C.
Mine caused liver damage.
Epclusa is only 1 pill, once a day, taken with or without food for 12 weeks. Before starting Epclusa, your doctor will test if you have had hepatitis B, which may flare up and could cause serious liver problems during and after treatment. Tell your doctor if you have had hepatitis B, other liver or kidney problems, HIV or other medical conditions, and all medicines you take, including herbal supplements. Taking amiodarone with Epclusa may cause a serious slowing of your heart rate. Common side effects include headache and tiredness. Ask your doctor today if Epclusa is your kind of cure.
How would you like to lower or have no energy bill? Olson Solar Energy and Westside Brothers Electric are going to make that dream a reality with a free solar energy system. Go to olsonsolarenergy.com and enter to win a 3 kilowatt system worth up to $10,000. You could power your home with natural, clean energy and slash your utility bills. Go green, save green. Learn more at olsonsolarenergy.com.
So that's how the ice would get delivered to the houses. And people didn't use refrigerators like we do today. I mean, there were neighborhood grocery stores. Every block, in virtually every block, or within 2 blocks of everybody, was a neighborhood grocery store. So people would go eat almost on a daily basis to get their food. So they didn't stockpile the food that we do today in our electric units, but they still wanted a place to keep the milk cold and, the butter and things like that. So that's what the ice box was used for. So Rhinelander Refrigerators units, they had a name, their brand name was called Airtight, and it was meant to emphasize that this was a tight unit. It was going to keep that cold in and keep the warm air out. And they made units from apartment size on up to commercial size. So they made a lot of them. And on many of the units, they made as many as a dozen different variations. Just as a quick example, if you had a unit and it might have the ice chamber on the right-hand side, you could have that same unit made mirrored where the ice would be on the left-hand side. Then you could have it made with the oak exterior, or you could, later on, you could have the more modern-looking enamel or porcelain. Then you could go one step further if you wanted. Some of the older homes around town, you will notice that they have little doors in the wall. And they were used for milk delivery. Some people probably still use them for mail. Those were also sometimes used for ice delivery. If the person didn't want the ice, if they weren't going to be home and they didn't want the iceman to come in the house, although back then everybody was very trusting, but you could have it to where he didn't have to come in. You could have that door in the wall, and then you could position your refrigerator such that he could slide the door open and put the ice right in. That's why it came in all those different varieties, so that you could configure your kitchen any way you wanted. Maybe it was better if the door was on the right side, left side, right back. You could do it. That's why they made so many. The people in order processing must have gone crazy with all those variations, but they did it. But they were making, at their heyday, 50,000 units a year. I mean, we're talking, this is in the 20s. So we're not talking a small mom and pop operation. We're talking a big league thing. They had 160 employees in their catalog. They referred to them as skilled artisans, but they had 160 skilled artisans making that 50,000 units. And they sold anywhere from $50 to maybe $115. And they were sold all over the United States, Canada, Great Britain, Australia, and many other countries. So they had brokers that were selling them all over the place. They had their buzzword, I guess, or whatever you want to, I'm not sure what the right word is, that they would, in their catalogs, they would say, America's most beautiful refrigerator. They would use that for advertising. But I get a kick out of this, and I'll give another example, but they also had another one, and it was made a little better than seems necessary. I'm sure they were just trying to say they were making, better unit than they had to, but it's just kind of funny. And that reminds me, the Rhinelander Paper Company had a saying, and it was something like, they made from the best that's made to the cheapest that's good. In other words, they make the high end and the low end. It's just, I just get a kick out of the phrasing that they used back then. But so they were promoting it, and it was very successful. There were two men that were credited with mostly with the success of the Rhinelander Refrigerator Company. Now, one of the Brown brothers was president. So again, we've talked about this Brown family. It starts out with that Pelican Log Company. It starts out with the bank, the E.D. Brown and Sons Bank that turns into Merchant State Bank. It talks into they were major investors in the paper mill, and Anderson Brown is the president of the paper mill, and Webster Brown is the president of the Rhinelander Refrigerator Company. So the two largest employers both had Browns as president. So their tentacles continue to be involved in all of that stuff. But again, the Rudolph Rieck, who was the manager, and Joseph Bruns was the production superintendent, are the names that you read most about that were credited with the success of the company. An interesting side note, in 1910, Mr. Rieck had a patent for a metal Christmas tree stand, and the Rhinelander Refrigerator Company bought it from him. So apparently, as a sideline, they made metal Christmas tree stands. I've never seen one that's had any kind of a label on it that identifies it, but I guess I would ask all the viewers, if you ever run into at your home or in an antique shop, if you see an old metal Christmas tree stand, look it over and see if you can see some kind of markings on it, because somewhere floating around out there has to be some Christmas tree stands from that, just as a sideline.
Don't miss 3 all-new episodes of Wednesday's most-watched dramas.
My baby needs help. I know it's a long shot, but it's not any other patient. It's my mom.
You two had something, didn't you?
You're way out of line. You're unprofessional. We're not going to dismiss this man as one bad apple because we are in this. You don't got to be black to know wrong from right.
An all-new Chicago Wednesday, tonight on NBC.
ELM Repair in Edgar is a family-owned and operated full-service diesel repair shop. From pickups to semi-trucks to heavy equipment and RV service. If it runs on diesel, we can repair it. Want more power and better mileage? Our experienced professionals will get your truck running and at peak performance. With a state-of-the-art dyno and fully stocked parts department, we can even come out to you with our 24-hour mobile repair service. ELM is always looking for passionate and talented people to join our team. The Diesel Doctor. Have it done right the first time at ELM Repair.
In response to the delays associated with COVID-19, Furniture and Mattress USA works to make things easier and safer for you. Number 1, if you like it, you can buy it right off their showroom floor. 2, all new items and arrivals will be posted on Facebook Marketplace every Tuesday, so you can see what's new for your home. 3, Furniture and Mattress USA, along with Lazy Boy Comfort Studio, will special order anything you need. Furniture showrooms located on Highway 45 North, Antigo.
Hello, I'm William Shatner, and you may not know this about me, but years ago, I was diagnosed with a sleep disorder. And like millions of others, I was prescribed sleep equipment. Did you know sleep equipment manufacturers recommend daily cleaning? That's why I use SoClean 2. It's the perfect complement to my daily routine, and it's hassle-free. Try SoClean 2 risk-free for 30 nights and get $100 off. Call the number on your screen or go to SoClean2.com. Call now.
Northland Basement Systems is the all things basementy company. Basement waterproofing, basement finishing, basement structural repair, humidity and mold control, and nasty crawl spaces too. When it comes to basement solutions, nobody does it better than we do. Since 1991, homeowners just like you in the Northland have trusted Northland Basement Systems for all things basementy in their homes. Call Northland Basement Systems today to schedule a free home evaluation.
Lac-Vie Desert Health Center in Watersmeet has the COVID-19 vaccine available on March 11th between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. for adults 18 and older. First come, first serve.
Their plant setup was huge, and you've got some pictures of that. I mean, it had the office, the power plant, kilns, all of the different work areas that were necessary to make that, warehouses, lumber yards, all of that. In addition to that, they had a clubhouse that they built in the 1920s for their employees. And it was a pretty fancy thing. It had restrooms. It had a dance hall with piano. It had a refreshment bar, cooking ranges. It had all of those things so that they could have dances and parties and different things there. It also had a nice baseball diamond adjacent to it. And the Rhinelander Refrigerator Company sponsored a baseball team. I think it was mostly their employees. I think they, with 160, they could high grade out enough good players. But they were actually very good, and they played, I don't want to call it semi-professional, but they actually went around and were competitive as they played around. So things were going good in the 20s as the whole country was going good, and then something happened in 1929 to kind of change the world. And so as we get into the 30s, times are getting tough for the Rhinelander Refrigerator Company. A combination of two things. There was this emphasis to bring electricity to the rural areas around the United States, and the more people that had electricity, the more potentially could buy an electric refrigerator. And that, by the way, the electric refrigerator was actually invented in 1913. So it was around, but people just either couldn't afford it or didn't have access to electricity early on to do it. That's why the ice boxes were still so popular. But by the time we get to the 30s, those that could afford it were going electric, and many people couldn't afford an electric nor an icebox in the Depression. So business went south real fast. So in 1933, they reorganized the business, and then in 1935, they actually had to close the doors. So that kind of brought an end to that. Now the property, again, for those that are here in Rhinelander, a couple of years later, the paper mill bought the land and the buildings and moved their converting department over to those buildings. And their converting department basically was to take their paper and coat it with a wax or some kind of a coating that would make it more moisture or grease resistant. So that was their converting department. And then in the 1960s, the paper mill built a big addition on the Phillip Street side of the mill and moved all the operations back to their central campus. So it was used, the property till then, sat idle for quite a while. Now there's an apartment building complex on it. It's called Pelican River Estates, I believe. So if you're driving around, you can visualize where it was. So there's still a number of those Rhinelander refrigerator units around. They've been repurposed for storage, for liquor cabinets, for different things like that. So it's not uncommon at all to see them in someone's, probably more like their basement in their game room or something like that, but they still are around. And we do have a Rhinelander refrigerator at the Historical Society. So if someone wants to come and actually touch one, we have one in our kitchen set up. It's the more modern porcelain covered one, but we have it. We have a fake block of ice in there so that you can see exactly how things would have been put up. So I would like to encourage people, and if I can put a little commercial in, we're hoping to open the museum again up for in-person tours this summer. We're optimistic, like everyone, that we can make this and do it safely. So hopefully people will come this summer and tour the museum, see all the artifacts, and then hear all the stories that the docents have to tell you about that.
Always more history to learn in Rhinelander, it seems. Thanks so much, Bill, for joining me today.
Thank you very much for allowing me and for allowing me to put a little commercial in at the end.